the second part of the wonders of the Creator. I would like to start with what we see in nature. That means the vegetation world. We see that when the fruit grow up, any kind of fruit, it makes no difference if it's a fruit and a vegetable, the colors start green. Did you ask yourself why all the fruit, when they start to grow up, they start from green, and when they're ready to be eaten, we see that the color change. Why? Isn't it was easier to have them all one color, number one, from A to Z, or number two, to keep the color of all the fruit the same? Why not? Why do we need to have an orange, the carrot different color, the tomatoes different color? Do you know what I'm saying? They're all different colors. Peach, apricot, all different color. Baruch Hashem, it's a variety of colors. Why is that? And why does it have to start all with green, and later on, they become to a different color, to the final color? Did you ask yourself? So we asked two questions here. We're going to try to answer them, please God. But we have to understand that that's going to lead us to another part that I spoke earlier, just before we start recording the show, that we have to understand that fruit that we have today, they all have different color. Did you ask yourself why we need so many colors? That's part of the wonders of the Creator. And we don't take notice of that. So Be'ezrat Hashem will try to solve up those answers for us to understand. So the main question that we ask, why do they start green and then they move to the final color? So the simple answer that everyone obviously knows, that when the fruit grows, it's growing, and it's green, it tells us, listen, don't eat me. I'm not ready yet to be eaten. Because if you might going to eat me, you might going to get sick. It might going to be wrong. When it gets to its final growth, we see that he starts changing his color, and he have his final color. That's when the fruit tell you, listen, I'm ready to be eaten. You can pick me up, you can eat me. That's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the different color in the fruit. That's number one. But why he didn't create one color then? Because we all know from the vegetables, from the fruit that we have, we get different nutrition, different vitamin. We need them. Imagine that all the fruit going to be one color. For example, green, or for example, red.
We wouldn't know when it's ripe.
That's what I explained before. But let's say that we know when it's right. We can check it out. The nutrition that we get from that fruit, that vegetables, we would not eat a quarter of what we're eating. You know why? Because when we have a variety of colors, that's what makes us eat more vegetables and more fruit. Studies show that when the color change, that would give us a different appetite. The colors. If you take the banana, it's yellow. When it starts, it's green. Imagine that you have a green banana, green apple, green orange, green whatever you want. You say, listen, they're all the same. I'm getting bored. So today the studies show that the Creator, that those wonders, what? For us to eat all different kind of fruit, that we get the nutrition that we need, the vitamin that we need. That's why he created all different color. Did you ever thought about it? Simple thing to look to us. But it's so complicated. And as we mentioned, if we look, how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he created the world, he knew that people can eat fruit or vegetables that are not ready yet to be eaten. So if he didn't create the color, imagine, you take a green tomatoes, you think that it's ready. If it didn't have color. The color come to warn you, listen, don't eat me. Look at the wonders of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's beyond us to understand. To us, it sounds very simple. But someone have to do that. That's only HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Creator. We spoke about the pips. There's two kinds of pips. The single pips in a fruit, that's the hardest spot in a tree. Mary, you look a bit surprised.
Yeah,
I'll explain
just
it.
again.
I'll say it. If we take a fruit that there is only one pips inside, single pips, that's the hardest spot in a tree. For example, if we take an apricot, the pips of it very hard. If you try to bite it, you break your teeth. If you take dates, there's only one pip, single pips, also very hard. Peaches, also very hard.
And then mango?
A mango, yes, when it dries very hard. Now, if we take other fruit that have more than one pips, we'll see that they're more soft. Nachon? But the taste is better. Nachon? You agree with me?
Guava.
Guava?
Notches.
Yeah, because
Not
it's
cheese.
small pips.
Yeah.
Small pips.
Yeah. But if you take the apple, the pips that we have in the apple, for example, did you look at the apple? There's a sac, and inside that sac, there's a lot of little pips. If you by mistake bite them, you bite them, but they're not a nice taste. It's not like the taste of the apple that you enjoy it. It's not so juicy and nice. So what's the difference? Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu created single pips, that they're very hard, and the soft pips, when they're more than one? Did you ask yourself that question, ever? You know, we're eating everyday fruit. For 50, 60 years of our life, okay, I'm lying, not 50, 60 years, until you're not reaching the age of 4 or 3, you can't eat proper fruit. But if you looked at that, for 60 years, people eat fruit, enjoying, and they don't understand the wonders of the Creator. How come that there is a single pips in certain fruit, and certain fruit have more than single? That means so many pips. Did you ask yourself? I didn't ask myself for many years until I was listening to Shiur about it. And scientists today explain it very simply. What did they explain? They say, if you look at it, if you take the single pips that we have in a fruit, for example, the apricot, the dates, the naartjies, you'll find that it's very hard. When you try to bite it, the worst scenario that can happen, you might going to break your teeth. You might. But if you look at apple, that there is many pips, and if you bite it, so you damage 1 or 2 pips, it's not the end of the world. Why? Because there is other pips. Because all the idea was that from those pips going to be another tree, another fruit, to recreate himself, to reproduce themselves. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created a fruit with a single pips, he make it hard. Why? So we're not going to damage it. That if you damage it, that pip's gone. In the end, we're not going to have any more fruit. So what's happened? HaKadosh Baruch Hu created those one very hard, that we can't damage them. We're going to throw them. They're going to rotten. And after that, they're going to grow again. But if we take the small pips, so we lose 1 or 2, 3, 4 pips. There's many others that left that we didn't damage. Those soft ones going to reproduce themselves. So we see from here again the wonders of the Creator, and we don't take notice of it.
Why don't you just make them all lots?
Sorry?
Why don't you just make all lots?
He didn't?
Why don't they just make all lots?
Rot.
Lots of them.
Lots of
the
them.
wine.
Because, whoa, you're attacking me from all sides. Let me, first of all, sit with us here, so I can see you. No, it's easier for me instead of going like this. In the front of us here. You ask why I didn't create a lot. Because if HaKadosh Baruch Hu would create all the fruit with a lot of pips, Just listen. Would we accept his wonders? Especially make two, and we don't take notice. HaKadosh Baruch Hu send us messages all day, 24/7. Do we take any notice of it? I mean, if I wouldn't mention it today, how many of you thought about the hard and the soft pips? Did you ever thought about it? Be honest with yourself. Not only that, did you thought about the color of the fruit? Let's be honest with ourselves. Why they all start with green, and when they're ready, they turn to the final color? Did you ever thought about it? HaKadosh Baruch Hu can do everything, obviously. But it just to let us, send us the messages, open your eyes, see the wonders of the Creator. We don't. Yes, Russell.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I mean, we can apply that to the entire world.
Absolutely.
Why do elephants have tusks, and why do
Absolutely.
ants so small? So I think it's the fact is we need to say, if you've got belief in Hashem, that Hashem created the world, you just believe everything, and you say, okay, He created the world, therefore it doesn't make a difference if an apple's got 6 pips or 1 pip. If an apple is green, red, yellow, or blue.
Okay. So that's easier. That's easy when it's come to people that believe. But there is many atheists.
Yes, but I'm saying...
When you speak to those atheists, you know...
But they're not going to believe whatever you tell them.
No, not true, not true. I'll tell you a story. You know what, it's good that you mentioned that. I'll tell you a story. I'm talking about a Jewish person. Listen to that carefully. And he come one day, and he been get hold by the missionaries. Jews for, you know. And many rabbis spoke to him, and spoke to him, and spoke to him, and he said to him, listen, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. The mother of that boy, that he was married and he had 2 little kids, she was so desperate, she called the rabbi. And she said to him, Rabbi, listen, many rabbis spoke with my son. You my last source. That's it. I have no more source. I don't know where to go. Please help me. He said, what's the problem? She told him the problem. He said, listen, I can try, I can't promise. But give me a bit of history about your family. And she gave it to him. He gone to that guy's house, and that's what this rabbi tell me that's happened to him. I heard it from first person, that he was there. And he said he spoke to him for 3 hours, to him and his wife for 3 hours. He said they was not interested. Not interested. He was ready to leave. He stood up, he said thank you. He was ready to walk out. Suddenly, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent them a message. You know what he said to him? I want to ask you something, he said to him, before I leave. I want to ask you 2 questions. You born as a Jewish? He said, yes. You don't believe that there is a creator? He said, no. Definitely. No creator. Anyway, it's gone on and it's gone. He said to him, listen, you know, after you die, your children are not going to say Kaddish on you. There is no one going to say Kaddish on you. And he walked out. Finished. That was the end. What do you think that those words done to that person? He didn't sleep all night. He didn't sleep all night. Because the rabbi added up one thing. You know what's going to happen to your body? Going to be cremated. That person didn't sleep all night. The rabbi gone, never heard about it. He said that 6 months later, he met the mother. The mother forget to phone him. You know what's happened to that boy?
He became a rabbi.
He became Chozer B'Tshuva. Russell, you know what it was? Amen Yehei Shemei Rabbah. No one going to say Kaddish on you. That boy didn't sleep all night. We can never tell where is it coming. There is another story I'll tell you. It was the same story, not the same person, that the person says he's not believing. He want to change his religion. So he gone to a rabbi. The rabbi said to him, I make it short. Told me, on Shabbos you eat cholent. He said, yeah, every Shabbos. I love cholent. He said, you know, now you're going to change your religion. He said, yes. He said, what's going to happen to your cholent? No more cholent, huh? No more kiddush. He said, what? No more cholent. But it just shows you this little thing that you have to know how to penetrate. Everyone have a soft point. You just have to know which button to press.
But it works the opposite. I mean, I know a guy that was brought up from, and then his daughter got killed. So he had all the belief in the world, and then his daughter got killed, so he went down the complete opposite. So I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying is, if we've got the belief, and I hope that every single person here has got that belief.
Otherwise, you wouldn't sit here.
Correct. And I would say, yes, I understand what you're saying, but the fact is, it's not going to make that much difference in my life. I mean, honestly, whether an apple has got 3 pips or 4 pips, or an apricot's got 1 pip or 2 pips, and whether it's green, orange, yellow, or pink. I believe that Hashem made it for a purpose.
Yeah.
The same as I said to you, to find out, I haven't managed to find anything. When my son had his appendix out, why did Hashem put an appendix in the person's body? Doctors have not come up to an occasion why there is a reason for an appendix in the person's body. I mean, there must be something.
Obviously, that's that they. Listen, if you look at certain things, people didn't know about it until not long ago, until science now start to prove. You know how it all started? Why am I making so many sholim? Because today, science, not that they're improving that the Torah is right. The Torah doesn't need them. It's just to show that usually, not usually, all the time, people don't take notice what they have. Now that I told you about the fruit, about the pips, you think that you're not going to take. But when you're going to bite next time the apple, or when you're going to eat the orange, or when you're going to eat the hard part of the fruit, you're going to remember the wonders of the Creator. That's what is it about. It's just to keep us awake. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need us. You think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu needed human being to create us? That the Zohar said that Tatka'at Dorot, 974 generation before he created the world, you know what HaKadosh Baruch Hu used to do? Used to join with the Torah. You know, Meish asked me, everything starts with Meish, because Meish, when he starts, he doesn't leave me. We start with science. Now you want me to start with a Bible quote. Nachon? You spoke to me the other evening. We should do a special show. It's just to show us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for 974 generation, enjoyed the Torah. And if you look at the Bible code, you say, what can I study in it? You don't understand. As you're getting deeper, you get more and more involved. You know what is the Torah. And how much you enjoy it.
It reinforces that the Torah.
Sorry?
It all reinforces that the Torah is accurate.
Absolutely, that's all.
It's the book of life.
Rabbi,
Yeah,
I just
we
want
don't
to
have a lot of
tell
time.
here to everybody the difference between those soft seeds. 1 pepper, red pepper on the Pick n Pay is 25 rand. I took the inside of the pepper, it's got all the pips in it. I told my gardener to put it in the garden. I'm now growing them myself. I saved 25 rand for each one. That I don't need to buy, it's growing in my garden.
Okay, the next.
It's not from Hashem.
Okay, so you looked at it like this to save money. No, Baruch Hashem. The next one, the next subject that I would like to speak is the 7 continents. Every 7 continents. There is in the world 7 continents. Everyone agree? Nachon. Baruch Hashem. You know, in Sefer Bereshit, in chapter 1, verse 9, the Torah tells us something that can contradict those 7 continents. Let's see what the Torah says. The Torah tells us like this. ויאמר אלוקים, יקבעו המים מתחת השמיים, אל מקום אחד, ותיראה היבשה, ויהי כן. That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to the water that was under the heaven to get together to one place.
He created the ocean.
And then all the water got together to one place. That means that become one earth and one big sea. Rashi HaKadosh on that explained that that's what we call Hayam HaGadol, the big sea. He called it Rashi, 928 years ago, called it the ocean. That's when Rashi left, when he wrote the commentary. He called it the ocean. Okay, so according to the Torah, was one continent, one ocean. But we see that it's not true now. Today, it's definitely not. There is 7 continents, there is different ocean. So what's happened? How can we solve the problem? I'm going to bring an answer from the Zohar that's been written 2,000 years ago by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And I'm going to bring a study that's been done by Wegner, Alfred Wegner. Let's start with the Zohar. The Zohar in chapter 12, verse 1 says something very interesting. Listen to it. I'm going to translate it to English. Tana, Eretz Ahat, Mamash. That it was one earth, הוציאו המים, וממנה נתהוו 7 יבשות. That means that was one earth. And the water created 7 different continents. That means that was one continent, but the water caused it, and it turned to 7 continents. What is the Zohar speaking about? Hazal explained, our sages explain, that until the time of the Mabul, the time of the flood, was one continent, one ocean. After the flood that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought, the earth split. We see 7 continents. 7 different continents, remember. We see different ocean. Nachon? That's the Zohar. That's how we explain. In 1930, what was his second name? Alfred Wegener. I forgot. Alfred Luther Wegener. In 1930, he published a book. The book called, The Origin of the Continent and the Ocean. In that book, he explained what's happened. According to Alfred Wegener, it was an earthquake in the world. And the continent that was one got cracks, and that's what created the 7 continents. And he explained something extraordinary. Listen to what he said. That if you look at the continent from the top or on a map, they all can join like a Lego. If you look at it, you can see that they can join exactly like a Lego. Not only that, you know how he done it? He flew by an air balloon in the 1930s, and the 19 actually before, because he published the book then. He said not only that, according to studies that he done, the type of soil that he found on one continent, exactly across the ocean, the same kind of soil that he found there, the same rocks. The vegetation that he found in a certain place was exactly the same on the other side. Unbelievable. The only difference was that Alfred Wegener didn't know that it was the flood, like the Zohar tells us 2,000 years ago. So today we all know that there is 7 continents.
No, but wait, Rabbi, he didn't know that there was a flood, but he wrote the book 30 years ago, and the Zohar...
Not 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago.
But less than 2,000 years ago.
Yes, but he said it was an earthquake, an earth that caused...
Earthquake.
Earthquakes. You know what is earthquake? Ra'idat Adama.
Okay.
And what? That, Ra'idat Adama, the earthquake, become cracks. And the water penetrate, and that's what separate and become 7 continents instead of one big continent.
Yes.
That's Alfred Wegener.
But you said that
The Zohar.
Wegener said he didn't know or the Zohar didn't know that there was a...
The Zohar knew that it was a flood. The Zohar said that when is it happen? After the flood.
Okay.
Alfred Wegener, that was a German scientist.
Okay.
Geologist. Let's put it this way. And he found out that there is 7 continents. And in his book, I explained the origin of the continent and the ocean that he wrote. He explained.
Yeah, but you're saying that he didn't know that there was a flood.
I don't think so, because otherwise he will look deeper. He thinks that it was an earthquake. The Zohar come and tell us the opposite. No. When is it all started? Listen what the Zohar says. Tana, Eretz Ahat, Mamash, that it was one continent. Listen again. Hotziu Hamayim, that it was one continent. But the water caused, okay? Umimena nithavu sheva yabashot. The water caused to have 7 different continents.
But you can prove that it's true.
Well, we know that it's true. What do you mean?
All the oceans, okay, the Atlantic, the Indian, the Hoti, all of them, they all join into one. One pours into another one.
No.
It's not like.
But
like
it still
from here to
doesn't-
there, you can see there's a different
But it's not
color
only
of
that.
water.
What about the continent?
No, you must put it in your perspective.
What I'm saying, that the proof that what you're saying and
Not
what
me, the
Zohar
Zohar.
is
The
saying-
Zohar. I'm
the
just
Zohar is
taking.
saying
Yeah.
is correct.
Nachon.
There's one
We don't
name.
need that.
That there is
No,
one
that
ocean,
we
so
know.
It's got different names. It's still
Okay.
one ocean.
So let's just continue because the time is late. We're running very late.
Perspective. What actually happens? First of all, the planet is 60% water, right? And if you have a plate, one big plate, and you have a mass of water, the stress of the water was so great it started to split the plates, which became the continent. So what the Zohar is saying is the cause of what created the earthquakes
The
is
water.
the pressure of the water.
That's it, the pressure.
But Wagner's saying that it's
It's an earthquake. That's
Well,
it.
that's
That's
what
the
happens.
difference. But
Yeah.
Wagner also agreed that if you look at the continent from the top, you can see how they can link like a Lego. It's today's everyone can see.
But you also mentioned last week that water expands
That's it. On a certain temperature.
a certain temperature.
If it's between 0 to 4 degrees, the water can still carry on expand. Why? To keep the life that under the water still
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, imagine that it will contract. What would happen in the world? Everything will turn to ice.
No
fish,
no marine life.
no marine life. Not only that, in summer, Has v'shalom, you know what would happen to the world? Going to get flooded in seconds
The earth
when it's
is
melted.
a dynamic body.
That's it.
It's not stagnant. It's moving
You know,
all the time.
please God, from next week we'll go and we'll do the shiurim about the holy days that we're coming awards. If we'll have enough time, I will try to compare the human body to earth. That what we have on earth, we have in a human body, exactly. But I would like to conclude, and just for us, that when we go into nature, there's many of you that love to go to nature, when we go in anywhere, when we look at fruit, after those two shiurim that we done about the wonders of the Creator, we can imagine what HaKadosh Baruch Hu done for us and we don't appreciate enough.
It's in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
Don't you?